So now we're going to go on to question number 5, and once again it's using the same part, but it is going to be with a few more modifications. So if you look at what's going on in here, we're going to be cutting things around. We're going to be changing also a few things. So it says, use the part created in the previous question modified by removing material and also by changing the following parameters. So the A and B and C are going to change. So let's go ahead and take care of that first. So my A is now, instead of 84, is going to be 86. So we take care of that. And my B is going to be 58. Take care of that. And then C is the extrusion. So I'm going to change that to 44. All right, so we're taking care of that. And let's go back to editing the sketch. It looks like in here we're going to be taking a chunk out of the middle from the top and taking another piece out. So this is a little bit complicated. So let's take a look at how we are going to do this. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to add this hole. So there's an 11 millimeter hole that is 14 by 14 millimeters away on the far side. So I'm going to just put a dot for now and smart dimension that 14 millimeters away from this side. And I'm going to smart dimension it 14 millimeters away from this side. Okay, so now I can go ahead and draw my circle. And my radius is going to be 5.5 because it's an 11 millimeter diameter. So 5.5 should give us 11. Click OK. And we should be good to go when it comes to that one. So when we extrude the whole part, that hole should be taken care of. Now let's see, so the 19 is still going to be the same, but let's look at some of these other dimensions. We have this 52, which tells me that all of this is going to be clear, but then there's going to be a chunk missing off of that and over to the 19. So we're going to want to do that on top of this surface. And you'll notice that they give us 52, which is interesting because they give us the dimension of not the part we want to cut out, but the other opposite side. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a center line. It doesn't matter where. I'm just going to make it along the part just so that it is, actually I will make it so that it goes right through the middle of the part. And we're good right there. So we want a dot. I'm going to place a dot at 52 from the edge. So I'm going to go to here, and then that dot, and that's 54. So I'm going to change that to 52. Okay. So I'm going to use that as kind of my starting point to be able to cut away that left side. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a line, and I'm going to just draw from this point. Go straight down to here, and I'm going to go past this. Go like that. So now I am going to cut 19 millimeters deep. So go into here and extrude it, cut 19 millimeters deep. Let's just take a look, and we click OK. So now we've got, looks like we've got it right at this portion of our design. So the next thing we're going to try and figure out is how do we cut out the next portion. looks like the next thing that gets cut out is this thing at the bottom. And it shows that it's at 19 millimeters. So let's go back to our part in here, and I'm going to start off once again by drawing oh, it looks like it's going straight from here. So I'm going to draw a corner rectangle, and I can take it from here and just go all the way out this way. Just to make sure, I'm going to make this 19 millimeters. And sure enough, it's right on the edge. And from here, I can go ahead and cut that out. And the only thing we need to find out, how deep do we cut it? And it looks like it's 19 deep. So we go extrude a cut. And 19, just like the other one. Click OK. And we are, looks like this bottom piece now. Okay, the next thing we're going to need to worry about is how to cut out that part from the inside, and that one's going to be a little bit trickier. So let's take a look at what we need to do. First thing that I noticed is the shape of the cutout, which is round, and it is not going to be in the middle. It looks like it's not centered. So I'm going to use that 12 and then that 24 to try and figure out how big this whole thing is going to be. So let's see what we can figure out. So there's a bunch of ways of doing this. The first thing that I've noticed, so C is 44, and then when you take out 24 and 12, so that's 36. And 44 minus 36, that means that this here is 8. So we got 12 over here and 8 over here. So I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my cut either from this place and cut down, or from this place and cut back, using this particular shape that they give us. So I'm going to take that 12 and put in a plane right at 12. So notice I've already got my front plane kind of as a reference. So I'm going to go ahead and insert. So you can either hover over this and hit the control key and pull back, or you can go to insert reference geometry and do a plane. So I'm going to go ahead and put in this plane at 12 millimeters, which is where we want it. Then I'm going to right click on that plane, and even though this looks like the outside of the part, I'm on that plane that is stuck right in the middle of it. Right? You got this plane. I put a plane, as I mentioned, at 12. So we need to find out how to make this circle. The only thing they give us is the 36, which doesn't seem like much. But I'm going to go ahead and put in a center line to kind of help us guide ourselves. And I'm going to measure it at 36 from the top. And there we go. Okay, so now we have a radius of 41, and it looks like it's out here. It's fairly vague, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a point right here where these two meet. Right, so it looks like it's kind of helping me. So I'm going to put a point there because that's where they tell me that it is 36. And I'm actually going to delete that. Yes. And that point and that line should be coincident. Then I'm going to go back and do my smart dimension just to make sure that that point is at 36. So it's almost at 36. Okay, so I've got my reference point for that big circle that the answers are put in. So I'm going to go ahead and click circle. Right now it doesn't really matter where it is. So it's going to be a big circle and it's got a radius of 41. So I'm going to say 41. Okay, where do I put this and how do I put it? So because I have that one point as reference, I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to control select the circle. And I'm going to tell it I want it to be coincident. Boom, right across that. And one thing you'll notice is now it kind of is pretty darn close to where we think we should have it. It automatically brought it down. Is it going to be exactly there? I'm not sure, but we're going to give it our best shot, right? So this is going to be what we use to cut out towards the front of the part. And how much are we going to cut it? Well, we want to cut it a whole 24 millimeters. So I'm going to go to features, extrude cut. Notice that it's going the opposite direction. We want to switch it this way and we want to put in 24 and we click OK. And let's see what it looks like. Ooh, that looks really good. So I don't know if we're on the right track. It looks like we're on the right track because the part looks like what it's supposed to look like. I'm even going to click save on this, right? So now they ask us, well, what is the weight of the part, right? I think. What is the overall mass of the part? Let's go to where the answers are. Number 5, 628.18. All right, let's go over to evaluate mass properties, and I have a mass of 603. So it looks like I'm a little bit off. I might have cut off a little bit more than I should have on something, right? But if I were to calculate and see what percentage am I off right now, 603 basically is what it is, divided by 628 times 100, so it gives me 96. I'm within 4%, so something is a little bit off. I would think that it is pretty darn close, and if this was multiple choice, I would have the ability to pick the right answer, right? So let's stick with this for now, and we'll come back and take a look at all of the different measurements to make sure that we didn't cut off more than we needed to cut off. So I'm looking at our part where we put in the circle. I think I might have found why it was just a little bit off. You'll notice that the center of this circular cutout is right in line with the edge of the part, whereas right now ours is in a little bit. So if I were to put in center line right along the edge and just stick it up, it doesn't really matter how long, this is just for reference. And if I select that and control select the circle of that, I'm going to tell it move over to that line. And you'll notice that now we're going to be cutting off a little bit less because the circle is kind of moved over. So the 2 points where this circle is kind of locked in place is one right along that center line and another one is along this diagonal. So I have a feeling that this is going to really help our mass properties, right? So originally, let's go back and look at the answer as to how much it was supposed to be. And it looks like the answer was 628.18. And let's go back to mass properties on here, 627.58. Oh, I'm within a little bit more than 1 gram. So this is right on. It looks like that's what we needed to do. All right, so good luck with the part. Let me know if you have any questions.